Tonight's headlines are brought to you by McDonald's and Mariana's Coffee.
Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. Casino not letting go just yet as commissioners grant an extension for a settlement offer. Also tonight, what is considered a reasonable fare for inter-island travel? And a video showing flag burning catches the attention of the NMI community. In sports, we remember a longtime swim coach. Stay with us, these stories and more are next.
Find a plan that goes with your flow. Get unlimited local talk, text, and data at the most affordable rate with Unlimited Flow Postpaid.
I love Mariana's Coffee. Come join me for a cup. I think you would be really happy.
Our new McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets are just the right amount of spicy. A small to medium Sprite kind of spicy. Let's get a McFlurry after this kind of spicy. But if you get the mighty hot sauce, it's a napkins for foreheads now kind of spicy. This came from McDonald's kind of spicy. Because our Spicy Chicken McNuggets, breaded in tempura and made with cayenne, are just the right amount of spicy. Unless you remember what I said about the sauce. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
After 2 days of negotiation, the Commonwealth Casino Commission grants a 10-day extension for Imperial Pacific International to present a settlement offer that is satisfactory to the CNMI. The CCC began its revocation hearing on Tuesday morning, but after only hearing one oral testimony from the general public, Executive Director Andrew Yom requested for a 2-hour break, stating it was necessary and will affect the board's revocation decision.
And allow other next speaker, director, you wanted to...
Can we ask for a short recess?
Or...
Just so that I can have some sort of we'll postpone delay maybe about 2 hours. We have last minute wrap up discussion.
The CCC finished the public comment portion and allowed for a 2-hour break. However, that 2-hour break turned into a 4-hour break, and when the break was over, commissioners learned that there is no settlement.
The legal sufficiency is not as what I thought would be transparent, or the legality may even be questioned. So, for all intents and purposes, I just don't think that this settlement can go through. So I'm here to let you know that we don't have a deal. No settlement is to take place. So you do what you got to do in terms of your decision.
The commissioners then went into recess until this morning.
Yesterday we waited for close to 5 hours because you requested through with the assistance of the Attorney General. So I thought that we ask you this morning. I know yesterday you did summarize, but I would like to ask you what really transpired.
Yom disclosed that IPI was to pay $3.1 million for the 2020 regulatory fee by April 22, followed by another $20 million on July 15. Other payments in the proposal were scheduled for the month of October, which would cover stipulated arrears and regulatory fees. Also outlined in the settlement proposal is IPI keeping $4.2 million in the U.S. or CNMI bank account reserved for payroll by the end of this month.
This is also very important. IPI immediately agrees to immediately waive their exclusivity of the casino license to enable the CNMI legislature to initiate the amendment to the gaming statute, provided that the IPI shall retain a casino license, non-exclusive casino license in the 3rd Senatorial District.
Yom explained that the settlement agreement was already 90% done, but at the last minute, it was deemed legally insufficient by the Attorney General's office. Commissioner Martin Mendiola expressed frustration on the settlement process.
When I hear Andrew saying that this is about 90% packet, it's an incredible, hopeful thing for me that, let's get something for CNMI. Let's settle on something so that we can, establish this, and especially the prospect that this agreement will foster additional investors, to come in and join this industry for the economy. And now we cannot even have the assurance that what we granted more than 4 hours yesterday to continue with this has now resulted in I don't know, what options do we have now?
Commissioner Ramon de la Cruz also speaks out.
It appears that there's conflicting opinion coming from the Attorney General's office. I mean, here they assign you to represent a director. I'm very sure that Agent Manibusan has given you guidance of how to approach this negotiation. And here we are on the 11th hour. We are, we're still waiting for something to go through. I think, Mr. Chairman, that we have tried our very best. For the past 6 years since I was a member of the Casino Commission, we've been trying to bring IPI into compliance. For a very long time, we've been very patient. We're trying to work with them. Now that we're 90% complete on some of the negotiation that will address a lot of our financial problems here in the Commonwealth, we dropped the ball again.
The CCC then went into recess. Representative Marissa Flores expresses concern in the proceedings.
Why are you discussing the settlement here? The settlement. Your job is to decide whether or not to revoke, delay the vote or vote. That's your job right now at this point.
The new date for a final settlement proposal is April 22.
Inter-island airfare in the state of Hawaii, with 2 carriers currently competing, is around $130 with baggage included for slightly longer jet service flights. What is a reasonable fare to travel between Saipan and Guam? Glenn Polycare, a longtime Saipan resident and tourism official, adds these thoughts.
Airfares are down to about what they were pre-COVID level. What do you think is a fair price to pay for inter-island between Saipan and Guam?
I know they got to make a nickel. I know they got crew to pay and fuel costs are up, and I'm sure the airport fees are not inexpensive by any means. But I think anywhere between two and 3, somewhere there, I think people would be willing to get on that plane a little bit more often. I'm not expecting the $99 fares when I first got here, but I think still 3. I think is still. If I'm getting bells and whistles, I might consider 3 if I had to, but I think between 2 and 3, I think the island-wide, I think would consider that to be reasonable based on all the other fares I've seen out there.
United is currently flying 3 times per week between Tokyo and the NMI, and service that was developed in partnership with the NMI coming out of the pandemic. It is the only direct service to Japan, and it currently is only scheduled through the end of the summer.
United's been with us for forever. I remember when we had Continental Mike and then United took over, and United's been there since day one. I mean, especially during disaster relief, they've really been helpful getting assistance back and forth throughout the islands. But if the prices were a little more reasonable, not just for residents, but tourists coming from Japan or Korea, if they did want to go visit, do those day trips to Guam, I think that would really be reflective in increase in travel. They're going to see more traffic between the two, and we'll do everything we can to promote them. We haven't seen a competitor out here, and not a real competitor, not in years. So anything that they can do to help us, we'll continue to promote them, and we're going to fill those seats.
A national flag symbolizes a nation's land, people, and government. To many, it's their identity. Earlier this month, a video circulated social media showing the Commonwealth flag being burned by a constituent. According to the man behind the camera, Ray Kitagwa, it was a denunciation of what is being represented on the flag.
In anywhere in the world, there's only one nation to one representation of one flag. We are the only people, and I say this in research that we can back up. In 1985, the people were deceived. Why would you amend the Constitution in 1976, 78, and you're going to put the very most important question that I'm bringing out today? Why are you going to allow yourself to be split in half and create somebody in the flag? That, in its process, unlegitimize our indigenous status in the international community.
Kitagwa says he's brought this issue to several government officials on the island and in the United States.
I knocked on every government, sitting officials, everybody, even for him to ignore the issue and then now come out and say sentiment and paint that my action is a villainous action. No. I was pushed to the point where I had to test the Constitution to the merit of my action.
His hope is to bring this issue into the courts to resolve the matter. Now, in the Commonwealth Constitution, it is illegal to destroy or damage the CNMI flag. The U.S. Supreme Court, however, views flag burning as an act of protest. But protest or no protest, indigenous issue or no indigenous issue, many who watched the CNMI flag burn into flames were deeply affected.
Personally, I think that was an insult to the whole Commonwealth as it is. I mean, if the argument on that is that it's not the appropriate flag and that the marmar should not be there or the flowers should not be there, that issue has been resolved way back when the whole community adopted it and the legislature adopted the official flag as well as the official seal of this Commonwealth.
That's very hard to take when I saw that picture on Facebook with the individual burning the flag, Same as our U.S. flag. We honor the flag every day. If somebody passed on, then we lower our flag in honor of those individuals. So we're just asking our community to please respect our flags. Even though the Constitution says freedom of speech, that we can do other ways in expressing our freedom of speech besides burning the flag.
That flag, it stands for many things, especially the indigenous Chamorro and the Carolinian. As we all know, the Tiger Stone represented the Chamorro community on the island, where the Muir on one hand, represent the Carolinian. So it's a lot of significance about the flag, and a lot of us stand firm in protecting who we are. That flag is one of that. We want peace. We want peace, gang. We want peace.
I love Marianne's coffee. Come join me for a cup. I think you would be really happy.
Premium office space is available now at the Hermosa Vista Business Park on Capitol Hill. Features include dedicated parking, fast internet, backup power, good water, and natural light throughout to go along with the very best views on Saipan. So don't settle for space when you can get peace and peace of mind. Call Hermosa Vista today at 670-483-4750 or email hvsaipan@gmail.com. More tonight with the local CO of the Coast Guard unit on Saipan, who spoke at a change of command ceremony on Friday at the American Memorial Park. This past year, the Coast Guard has been involved in a number of rescue missions that involve citizens from the People's Republic of China leaving Saipan bound for Guam. This week, there were reports of illegal fishing from a Taiwanese vessel in the Northern Islands. Justin Miller.
What does the Coast Guard do in those roles? Because I know you've made some rescues from people that maybe had too many people on a boat because they were trying to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys handle that?
So basically, communication when it comes to living on islands in general, or just with how operations within the Coast Guard. Granted that we are living on islands, communication is absolutely the key when it comes to approaching those. So the first thing, a lot of the situations that you're talking about were basically we were either informed by a local or a local agency or something to that extent. So having that communication with us, knowing that they can, one, rely on us and know that we are the folks to call upon in certain situations like that is the first step. But as far as addressing the situations, making sure that, one, our assets and our people are ready. We are diligent workers. We are always training. We are always practicing like we want to play.
What assets do we have here locally? I know there's a lot of assets in Guam, but what's here?
So right now, we just primarily have the Marine Safety Unit, which is my office, and there's only 3 of us here, 3 active duty and 1 civilian. There's no vessel assets or anything like that yet. So that's why right now there are future plans to possibly bring up a small boat up here to help us be more readily available for boardings or fishing vessels or inspections or what have you, search and rescue, whatever the situation will be, just to help us be more independent and not dependent of someone else's vessel, whether we use DPS boating or something like that. But right now it's just us 3. That's why it's truly an amazing position to be here right now, just because it is, you try not to let the number of people, the fact that we only have 3 folks in the office, deter you from still achieving your missions. We could totally do that, and we do it every day. And I will stand by the words I said today. I'm very proud with the folks that they serve with, because the 2 gentlemen that are here, their experience I highly depend on, and it's a fantastic team and a fantastic place to be.
Thursday night, we are pleased to present right here on the Channel 2 News, the Humanities Half Hour, hosted by Catherine Perry. This week's guest is Don Farrell, who talks about his new book that focuses on Seabees and superforts.
I decided on this role of recording the history of the islands during World War II, back when I was living on Guam. When I first got to Guam, I was fascinated with what had happened to the local population, the Chamorros of Guam, as a result of the war that they didn't ask for but ended up in their lap. And so I discovered all of these wonderful stories that had not been told to the outside world. And in fact, we're not really available to the local population either. So we created the book Liberation 1944, the story of the recapture of Guam and the impact that it had on the local community. And it was very well accepted, and I was pleased, right, for 2 reasons. One, that it was accepted by the locals, right? But number 2, that it was purchased by a lot of U.S. military personnel.
The show starts at 7 p.m. Don't miss it.
Fast, fun, and easy. That's how your home Wi-Fi should be. So start with an internet plan that fits your budget. Introducing your home Wi-Fi starter pack, also known as WISP. Enjoy up to 25 megabits per second for as low as $35 a month. Plus, a free router with your wireless subscription. That's hours of movies, games, social media, and more endless fun. Get your Wi-Fi starter pack today only at Docomo Pacific. Better together. Additional conditions may apply.
Buenas sports fans.
This weekend on the Big Island in Hawaii, family and friends will gather to celebrate the life and achievements of our local swim coach, Gene Sokovich. There will be a celebration of life on Friday, Hawaii time, and a paddle out near the Sokovich home in Hilo on Saturday. Their Saipan family will have a celebration here in local waters on Sunday afternoon. Tonight we will run a story that we first ran when we received the sad news in January. On Friday, we'll have more on Mrs., along with Saipan community members who are spearheading the local Sunday celebration. When you live on a small island, many people know your face or your last name, maybe even your first name. Bill and Jean Sokovich are in a league of their own. They're known simply here as Mr. and Mrs. The moniker was short, sweet, and easy to say for out-of-breath swimmers. It was used to show respect and to differentiate between a tag team, husband and wife, coaches, who dedicated their lives to coaching, teaching, and encouraging kids and adults how to swim. Mr. and Mrs. taught swimming here for 3 decades. Their office, the Marpi 50-meter swimming pool, the Sherman tanks in the Saipan Lagoon, Togaman, Xterra, and countless competitions around the Pacific. They were the first inductees into the CNMI Sports Hall of Fame. Mrs. passed away this week after a short and tough battle with cancer. She's survived by Bill, son Jonathan, and daughter Annika. But the Mr. and Mrs. family extends outwards to and through the generations of kids and adults that learned how to swim or swim faster.
Remember the early mornings at the pool and the late nights at the pool when we were all preparing for Togaman and the games, the South Pacific Games, and that again. And of course, Jean and Bill were instrumental in that.
I am getting my legs up. She kept telling me, no, you're not. To this day, I swim as rarely as I have to, unless chased. And to this day, I think of her sweet voice telling me to get my legs up, and I try. I still fail, but I try.
National tennis team coach Jeff Race says he modeled his entire program after Saipan swimming. From Saipan, the Sokoviches moved to the Big Island of Hawaii. It was closer to their two kids and allowed them to continue coaching, paddling, and encouraging others. Former Saipan residents Stefan and Dina Samoilov brought their son Evan for a visit.
We went to visit them when, gosh, it must have been about 5 or 6. And I remember they used to have membership at Hilo Country Club. I remember Jeannie teaching me how to swim because I was still like young, and I was like, it was her idea, and like she was a very good teacher. And
Yoshka Baldwin first met the Sokoviches right here on Saipan when he was just 12 years old, and now the Sokoviches are teaching his kids in Hilo.
Coach Jeannie is so nice. But they've been really great with the kids. They do a great program here, and they're keeping that legacy on.
As Aunt Bobby, as I'm going to talk to Aunt Bobby about how Bobby said, matter of factly, toughest lady I've ever known, and I think that's such a great description, Aunt Bobby, because she's an amazing.
Well, who else could come out bloody from head to toe from the boonies or any and be smiling?
Her husband does it.
Yeah. Well, one of my memories of Jeannie is her paddling the Ali Nui Haha channel with her paddling group, with her outrigger group. That I thought was just awesome. Mm-hmm. So that's she didn't, I'd say, yeah, do you really have to do that? She says, yes, I do.
Paddling was a big part of her life back here when we came back.
Mrs. got sick this past summer. Annika, who now resides in California, says her neighbors and even the care facility staff who had never heard of Saipan soon got the full experience of our local community.
Even when she was in the hospital and in rehab, she had clearly had the record for the most number of visitors every day, but also, visitors coming through. Oh yeah, from Saipan.
What?
And we all have this connection to a place that we all loved, and we raised our kids here. I mean, Bill and Jean lived here for decades, and had a family here, and taught every one of our kids my kids that are here, how to swim. Like,
including
our and yep, and things do change, but I think everybody lives here and makes it your home, everyone becomes your family, and you don't forget your family.
Well, Jean and I have always talked. Saipan was probably the best time we ever had from probably the 80s, maybe to the early 90s. Things have changed a lot down there, but those early days, it was just one big family. Thank you.
Yeah.
The last time I saw Jeannie, I was in Hilo, and we were talking about the Saipan swimming pool and wondering, hoping, and wishing that it will one day make a comeback.
I hope they will get on it soon because there are so many children who have learned to swim in that pool, whether they went on to swim high school, swim as competitively is another factor, but they learned how to swim and they can enjoy the ocean and teach their kids how to swim. And lots of families have come through that pool.
Here's to 50 meters of Mr. and Mrs. and a suspicion that a future pool will have Sokovich etched into the heart of it.
It's about community. They're awesome. We're going to really miss her, Bill.
Jeannie Sokovich was 77. Hey, golfers, come north and practice your game at the Marianas Driving Range. New Year's local specials. 10-piece coupon books available for just $60. That's a $10 savings. Want to get really good? Come work on your swing every day for just $99 per month. It's our practice pass and you're going to love it. Grab your passes and go straight to the range. You can social distance and chip all at the same time, and the views are free. Reserve now at marianastrekking.com. You can pay online, open 7 days a week. At one of Saipan's beaches, this mother lays about 100 eggs under the cover of darkness. She hides her nest as best she can and then slowly makes her way back to the ocean. The eggs hatch and the babies head for the sea, where they will face a daily dose of danger. Just 1 in 1,000 will make it to adulthood. Those that do will one day lay their own eggs. Sea turtles are protected under sea NMI law. If you see one that is stranded or if you see illegal activity, call the hotline at 287-8537.
And for your KSPN weather report, tonight through Thursday night, partly cloudy with isolated showers, east winds 15 to 20 miles per hour, low 78, highs 85, and a 20% chance of showers. For your marine forecast, moderate to fresh trade winds and combined seas of 5 to 8 feet are expected in the next couple of days. Seas are expected to subside slightly over the weekend to between 5 and 7 feet. Winds will become gentle to moderate over the weekend, and approaching trade wind surge is expected to bring increased showers to the NMI. High tide will be at 8:33 a.m., followed by a low tide at 3:44 p.m. Sunrise will be at 6:05 a.m., and the sunset, you can catch that at 6:31 p.m.